on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
More than 50,000 school buses are being recalled nationwide. The Thomas-built buses don't have enough padding in the seats, so students could get hurt if there's an accident.
Valley News Team's Katie Opperly reached out to our local busing companies to see how they are being impacted. She joins us now in the studio. Katie, what did you find?
Mike, Andrea, these buses are being recalled because they don't have enough padding around the steel frame and the seats to keep someone protected. I spoke with Valley Bus, Moorhead Schools, and West Fargo Schools to see if they have any of the 4 Thomas-built bus models being recalled. We've confirmed Valley Bus does use Thomas-built buses. They said of their fleet, less than 10% of their buses are the type that could be potentially impacted. They said if the buses have the specific types of seats being recalled, it would have an extremely minimal impact. West Fargo Schools also has a few Thomas-built buses. After some checking of the vehicle numbers, none are on the recall list. Over in Moorhead, they have several Thomas-built buses. They say children's safety is their biggest concern, so they will be checking to see if their buses fall under the recall. They say they have contacted their dealer to learn more, but they were not able to confirm how this recall will impact them at this time. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says owners will be notified if their vehicles are affected. Dealers will then install additional padding free of charge. Mike?
All right, thanks, Katie. The recall begins December 2nd. That's when dealers will begin installing the padding to the recalled models.
Police continue to look for a man who they say used a knife to rob someone on Bellesley Boulevard in Moorhead. It happened around 4 in the 1600 block where the woman says the robbery took place. The victim was not seriously hurt, but the man ran off. He's described as a younger black man, possibly in his late teens or early 20s, wearing a black jacket with a red stripe, darker colored jeans, and dark shoes. If you have any information, you can call police at 218-299-5120.
An investigation is underway after marijuana was found at a Minot Air Force Base nuclear missile facility. The drug was found above ground and not near missile operators at a missile alert facility. Minot hosts one of the nation's 2 B-52 bomber bases and oversees 150 Minuteman III nuclear missiles. The base has been under scrutiny since a 2007 mishap in which a B-52 bomber was mistakenly armed with 6 nuclear-tipped cruise missiles in Minot and was flown to an Air Force base in Louisiana.
New evidence submitted in 3 different Cass County cases shines a light on how social media is being used by predators to target kids. A 16-year-old Fargo girl was recently caught sending photos to a 26-year-old man living in Leeds, North Dakota. Investigators say the man paid her $1,800 using an app that allows you to instantly transfer money to a person's bank account. The teen avoided detection from adults by constantly changing her social media passwords.
You can't control what happens with those photos once you send them out and how they could be used. And the possession or distribution of such type of photos is a felony in the state of North Dakota.
In another case, Fargo police arrested a 36-year-old man at a gas station parking lot for having an 8-year-old girl send him nude photos. Police say a person who sends or receives nude photos can face sexual extortion or obscenity charges, which are both felonies.
A reminder from West Fargo firefighters after they've been dealing with a handful of recreational fires. They say you cannot burn leaves, garbage, or grass inside West Fargo city limits. You can, however, burn dry wood and branches. You're also encouraged to use an approved container and keep your fires at least 25 feet away from structures like your home.
We're now seeing images from the deadly airplane crash near Aberdeen, South Dakota. The FAA has just released video from that crash site, and earlier today, our affiliate, KSFY News, spotted FAA agents investigating the wreckage. The single-engine plane had been missing for more than a week after it took off from Aberdeen, but failed to arrive at its destination in Oaks, North Dakota. The wreckage wasn't found until Monday, and the 70-year-old pilot, Gerald Saliski, died in the crash.
North Dakota voters overwhelmingly passed a measure to give volunteer first responders free license plates as long as they're volunteers. The Department of Transportation says nearly 4,000 volunteers have plates since the measure passed. An estimated 11,000 people across the state are eligible, which could cost as much as $2.75 million every 2 years. A Minot representative says he's not surprised by the decision, but lawmakers will need to find a way to make it up.
have an excise tax on vehicles, but percentage of that gets moved off for other things, and in some bienniums we have dedicated those funds towards roads.
Another concern was, how do you define a volunteer emergency responder? And what happens if this person stops? The law does have a definition and a process if someone stops volunteering.
North Dakota is being recognized by the U.S. Attorney General for its work combating fraud against the elderly and vulnerable. Operation Hard Copy targeted the Jamaican lottery scam that tricked many seniors out of their life savings. The investigation resulted in the extradition of 14 Jamaican nationals and the successful prosecution of 31 defendants.
Our wet fall could set the stage for some major flooding come spring. Local experts are saying there's too much moisture in the ground, and when that mixes with a deep freeze, it could spell trouble.
Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie sits down with these experts and tells you what you need to prepare for now.
James Hyde is an instrumentation specialist at NDSU. He's been monitoring soil and weather conditions in the region for a handful of years. He says there are 3 ingredients for a spring flood, and that the first domino has already fallen here in the valley. A wet fall.
Unfortunately, the sloughs are plumb full right now, and so are the rivers. We've seen higher levels in the spring, of course, but for fall, this is about the highest that we've seen in a long time.
The next piece of the puzzle is a snow-packed winter.
If the ground did freeze, you know, like if we go into winter, then that traps all that moisture, all that water for spring.
As wet as it is, a cold snap could spell trouble for this spring. The longer we can wait for a deep freeze, the better off we will be when the winter snow melts.
I think what kind of can be scary is to think about the fact that this time of the year in October, late October, our average lows go below freezing and our average highs stay below freezing by mid to late November, which means what's in the ground then is going to freeze.
Both our chief meteorologist and Hyde say the final ingredient to a spring flood is the most critical.
If that topsoil won't take any more water and it's frozen, that water hits the river real fast, and that's a problem.
Although the rivers are running high and the soil is soaked, there are a lot of other factors that could come into play and change the situation. But the experts we talked to say it's something to keep an eye on. In Fargo, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
To keep track of the river levels and potential for spring flooding, stick with our weather team here on Valley News Live. We'll continue to monitor the conditions.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather.
All right, we did turn a few corners today. Not a lot of precipitation. That was a good thing. The wind took a little bit of a vacation as well, but we're waiting on warmer temperatures and sun. Now, the water in the Oslo area is starting to recede. That's good news, but it's heading north. Moderate flooding expected in the far northern reaches of the Red River Valley, where warnings remain in effect. The Barnes County area has seen the warning dropped as water's receding there, but that is now working its way through the Cheyenne River Valley. Moderate flooding expected for you in the Kindred area, as well as in west portions of West Fargo, rather, at the diversion. A few photos you've shared with us and uploaded at valleynewslive.com. Heath with this shot from Lemoore in that James River Valley, and another shot from that James River Valley through Jamestown. Thanks so much, Tammy, for sharing your shots with us. Outdoors, we look at those flags at the Dakota Magic Casino. They're still flapping in Fargo. Those winds 7 miles per hour from the west. 34 your temperature. Feels like it's in the 20s. It's chilly out there. Dew points in the mid 20s. And if we clear out with the light wind, temperatures can approach that dew point temperature very quickly. So a cold night is in the making. As we take a look at the satellite, we see some clouds off to the east and south of us, but a clearing trend up north from Hallock and Grand Forks through Langdon. That's where we're starting to see these clouds break apart, and the forecast shows that we'll expect that trend to continue. It's already 29 in Grand Forks, 33 in Bemidji, and 36 this hour in Fergus Falls, Jamestown, and Devils Lake, both at 35 this hour. Here is your hour-by-hour forecast, and we'll see that clearing trend spread through the valley as we go through the overnight. The best chance at keeping the blanket of clouds, which will limit your cooling, is in central Minnesota, but still a chilly night with temperatures dipping down into the mid-20s for many of us to start out our Thursday morning. Hey, the sunshine returns, and Hutch don't have any wind arrows on here, so we're getting another beautiful ingredient in there, and it'll start warming things up. Don't expect a hot day by any stretch of the imagination, but even having the sun out with light wind will feel like the nicest day we've had thus far this week. As we head into the evening, a few clouds drifting overhead, but I don't expect much in the way of precipitation. Morning temperatures mid-20s, ramping up into the mid-40s. Notice our wind direction that is light and variable. By the end of the day, we'll be coming out of the south, setting the stage for even milder temperatures to close out your work week. 39 tomorrow afternoon on your way home from school in Langdon, 41 in Fergus Falls, 43 for Valley City, and a look out towards Wadena. I expect your temperature to be in those upper 30s as well. Hey, here's a fair weather sky out there. Lake Itasca, Mandy capturing that view, and we should have a chance to see some more calm conditions. As we go through Friday, though, the wind does pick up just a little bit. We'll see sunshine, and look at that, 53 degrees. Still breezy and increasing cloud cover on Saturday. And Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, there's a chance of precipitation. But this does not look like one of these heavy systems like the last two big weather makers that have moved through. Hit and miss showers. So enjoy your temperatures Friday and Saturday, because we're back in a cool pool as we close out the weekend and head into next week.
What kind of pool was that?
A cool pool. Bring your sunglasses.
All right, thanks.
Up next on Valley News Live 10 at 10, both key testimony and chaos today during President Trump's impeachment investigation.